The house was quiet, the children were asleep. Everything seemed normal. The phone rang at 9:30. Jill set down her textbook and picked up the receiver, expecting Mrs. Anderson checking in. Instead, a man's voice, low and scratchy, like sandpaper dragged across wet wood. "Have you checked the children?" Silence. Then a click. The line went dead. Jill held the receiver for a moment, listening to the dial tone hum against her ear. She put it back in its cradle and looked around the living room. The Andersons' living room, warm and beige, where she had babysat a dozen times before. Tommy and Lisa were upstairs, asleep since 8. The television murmured a rerun nobody was watching. Everything was fine. She went back to her textbook. The house settled around her, pipes ticking, refrigerator humming, the ordinary sounds of an ordinary suburban night. But the question stayed in her ear like water she could not shake loose. "Have you checked the children?" The second called 10 o'clock. The phone again. Same voice. Same question. "Have you checked the children?" And her night changed forever. "Have you checked the children?" This time she heard breathing behind the words, slow, deliberate, the breathing of someone who was enjoying the pause. "This isn't funny," Jill said. Her voice came out louder than she intended, sharp enough to bounce off the Andersons' beige walls. "Stop calling or I'll tell the police." She slammed the phone down. Her pulse thudded in her neck. She almost stood up, almost walked to the stairs, almost climbed to the second floor to look in on Tommy and Lisa. But she didn't. They were fine. They were always fine. Going upstairs would mean admitting that the calls had scared her, and she was not going to give some prank caller that power. 10:15. The phone rang. She did not answer. It rang 12 times and stopped. 10:30. Again. 12 rings. Silence. 10:45. The same. Jill sat on the couch with her textbook open to a page she had read 4 times without absorbing a single word. The television light flickered across the walls. Every creak of the house, the settling of old wood, the wind nudging a window, made her flinch. The trace. At 11, she dialed the operator. "A man keeps calling," she said. She was surprised at how steady her voice sounded. "He asks about the children. I need the calls traced." Each call was worse, and she was running out of time. "If he calls again," the operator said, "keep him on the line as long as you can. We'll trace it from our end." Jill sat back on the couch and waited. The house was quiet, too quiet, the kind of quiet that sounds like something holding its breath. She stared at the phone and willed it to ring. 11:15. It rang. She picked up. Steady. Controlled. "Have you checked the children?" The voice said. "Why do you want me to check the children?" Jill asked. She kept her voice level, watching the second hand of the Andersons' wall clock sweep past the 6, the 7, the 8. "What have you done?" "Get out now," and she ran without looking back. The voice laughed, not a human laugh, a wet, rasping sound, like air leaking from something punctured. The line went dead. Seconds later, the phone rang again. This time it was the operator, and the operator's voice was not steady. The operator's voice was close to screaming. "Miss, we've traced the call. Get out of the house. Get out right now. The calls are coming from the upstairs extension. He's in the house. He's upstairs." The run. Jill's body moved before her mind caught up. The phone hit the floor. Her feet hit the carpet. She crossed the living room in 3 strides, her hand found the front door lock, and she was outside, cold air hitting her face, wet grass under her bare feet, the neighbor's porch light a yellow beacon 20 yards away. She did not look back. She did not stop for her shoes. She did not think about Tommy and Lisa, not yet, not until the adrenaline drained and the guilt arrived. She pounded on the neighbor's door until it opened and she fell inside, shaking so hard her teeth clicked against each other. He had been there all along, calling from just above her head. The police arrived in 4 minutes, sirens, lights, officers with guns drawn. They went through the Andersons' front door and up the stairs. They found him in the children's room, sitting in the dark beside Tommy's bed, the upstairs phone in his hand. He had been there for hours, watching the children sleep, calling his victim on the extension line. Waiting. In some versions of the story, the children are alive. In others, they are not. The legend cannot decide, because both endings carry the same horror. The threat was never outside. The locks meant nothing. The bolted door, the beige walls, the warm television light. None of it mattered. The danger was already inside, had always been inside, had been 10 feet above her head the entire time.